Mr. Wiggins was a man whose public image gleamed like polished brass. A seasoned politician with a sharp tongue and an even sharper suit, he was admired by many, feared by some, but truly known by none. He was evil personified. Among the few who thought they knew him was Chief Benjamin, his longtime friend, confidant, and unknowing rival. Chief Benjamin, with his beautiful wife and 4 adorable children, was everything Mr. Wiggins secretly detested. He was noble, industrious, loved by his community, and most painfully, successful. His leather manufacturing business had risen to great heights, with high-quality products gaining attention beyond Nigeria's borders. Yet, despite the envy that festered in his heart, Mr. Wiggins played the role of a good and supportive friend with practiced ease, but it was total deception. He was nothing but a friend worse than any known enemy. They were family friends, and the two families had known each other for years. Their wives often visited each other, chatted about the latest fashion trends, and shared the latest gossip in town. Their children played together during holidays, and during joint family dinners at either homes, laughter rang through the dining table like bells of harmony. One such evening, seated around Chief Benjamin's grand dining table, the two men told a pair of jokes so hilarious that even Reuben, the brilliant, calculating and sensitive 13-year-old who was the last born of Mr. Benjamin, laughed so hard. But beneath Mr. Wiggins's smile that evening was a shadow darker than anyone could imagine. He was busy crafting the downfall of his dear friend and family. He was the unsuspected household enemy. When Mr. Wiggins' company faced financial crisis, and he had nowhere to turn because banks demanded collateral that he could not spare, and their high interest rates would drown him in debt, in his dire need and great desperation, he turned to his dear friend, Chief Benjamin. And Chief Benjamin, true to his generous spirit, lent him a sizable sum, which was interest-free, with a handshake that sealed the agreement between brothers. Mr. Wiggins accepted the money with a grin, while his mind churned with poisonous thoughts. The fact that Chief Benjamin saved his company from collapse deepened his hatred rather than softening it. He felt humiliated to accept help from a man he considered his competition. Then came the conversation that tipped the balance and finally pushed his jealousy and envy over the edge. It was a humid afternoon at the tennis club when Chief Benjamin, beaming with pride, shared the latest news about his company with Mr. Wiggins and young Reuben. He spoke of a pending partnership with a major American company seeking to enter the African market through leather goods, a deal worth millions of US dollars. He spoke not with arrogance but with excitement and hope for his family's legacy. Mr. Wiggins nodded, praised and cheered him on, but his thoughts were already miles away, crafting a venomous plan. That night he made a dangerous call. His voice was cold and calculated as he spoke with a contact from his darker political circles, men who knew how to make people disappear. He offered them a large sum of money that could buy silence and loyalty. His instructions were simple but chilling. Make it look like an accident, a robbery gone wrong. No survivors. His logic was as ruthless as it was deranged. With Chief Benjamin and his family out of the way, the American company would have no local partner, and he would position himself as the next best alternative. With the millions from the deal and a clear field in the leather industry, his political ambitions would finally be within reach. But what Mr. Wiggins didn't know, what he could not possibly foresee, was Reuben. Reuben, the youngest of Benjamin's children, had the sensitivity and curiosity of a detective and the analytical mind of a chess grandmaster. He had been there during the conversation about the American business, and in his young mind he had sensed something subtle but strange in Mr. Wiggins's reaction, which weren't totally genuine. He also sensed some jealousy, but he kept it all to himself. Not long after, Mr. Benjamin and his family visited the village to see his parents during the Easter holiday. In the night, just 2 days before they were to return, Reuben had a dream. The wind outside howled like a grieving spirit, And in the shadowy haze of sleep, he saw Mr. Wiggins, his father's best friend, kick open the door of their home, his face twisted into something monstrous. Behind him charged 7 massive dogs, their eyes glowing red, their barks thundering like war drums. They attacked without mercy, biting, tearing, growling, destroying and attacking everybody and everyone. Blood was everywhere. It was a disaster. Reuben woke up soaked in sweat, gasping for breath. His small chest rose and fell rapidly as he scrambled to his feet in the small guest room of their ancestral village home. At breakfast the next morning, he told the family about the dream. He pleaded with wide eyes and a trembling voice. "Daddy, Mummy, Mr. Wiggins. He came in my dream. He had 7 dogs. He attacked us. It was very real." But Chief Benjamin only chuckled, patting his son on the head. "Dreams are nothing, my boy. You've eaten too much village pepper soup." His mother gave a kind smile. "It's all right, Reuben. Maybe it's because of the scary stories your cousins told last night." Not long after, Mr. Wiggins called. "Ah, Benjamin, my brother," Wiggins said smoothly over the phone. "I've got something very important to discuss, and a small parcel to deliver too. When are you returning?" "Saturday," Chief Benjamin said, unaware of the trap that had already been set. "We'll be back by Saturday afternoon." "Perfect," Wiggins replied, a subtle grin forming on the other end. "Safe journey to you all. We'll talk then, my friend. My regards to the family." That Saturday was strange from the start. The car broke down twice on their way back to the city, once on an empty stretch of road when they had a flat tire, and again just before they entered the estate when the alternator spoilt and they had to get a mechanic to fix it, which took 2 hours. All the while, Reuben stared out of the window in silence from the back seat, his heart pounding for reasons he couldn't explain. When they finally reached home, Chief Benjamin realized that he had forgotten the house key at the village. Frustrated, he got a carpenter, who forced the door open with a crowbar. When they got inside, they found the lights flickering strangely. Then, moments later, the electricity blew out completely. It was very inconveniencing and frustrating because they didn't have light, and they also couldn't pump water for the house. "This isn't right," Reuben said in a low voice to his mother. "Mum, all these things happening today may be signs. Remember my dream. I think something bad is about to happen. Tell Daddy to book a hotel for us all. Let's all sleep in a hotel tonight." His mother shook her head and stroked his cheek. "Reuben, sweetie, it's just a bad trip back home. It happens, okay? Once Daddy gets an electrician, everything will be fine. Moreover, your daddy has spent a lot of money in the village already and in fixing the car and all. If we lodge in a hotel, that would be additional expenses, and honestly, it's too much." By evening, after a short visit from a nearby electrician, the power was restored, water was pumped, and everyone settled in. That night, as the moon cast long shadows across Mr. Benjamin's residence, Reuben still couldn't sleep. He tossed and turned. Something in the air felt wrong. At midnight, he was stirred by a strange feeling as if something in the atmosphere had changed. Then he got up to use the restroom, quietly tiptoeing past the sleeping forms of his siblings. That was when the first sound came, a soft metallic click followed by the splintering crash of the front door being kicked open, and then gunfire. Pop! 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 There were screams, crashing, and chaos. Reuben froze. Terror seized him. He ran into the bathroom and locked the door just as heavy boots thudded past. He heard muffled voices, cruel and urgent, barked orders. He could hear his elder siblings' cries as the gunmen moved through the room. Then the walls echoed with final sounds, the end of innocent lives. He held his breath, curled up in the corner, shaking. Then there was a long silence. After what felt like an eternity, Reuben stepped out slowly, feet bare, eyes wide. He crept down the corridor towards his parents' room. The door was ajar. Inside, a dim light flickered. As he stepped closer, the wardrobe door of his father's room creaked. His mother, who had hidden inside the wardrobe with his dad, wanted to come out. She thought that the assassins had gone. Suddenly, one of the assassins immediately ran out from an adjacent room, and Reuben bolted, running inside. He quickly slid under his parents' bed just in time as the man entered, while his mother retreated back inside the wardrobe. "Hey, I heard something. In here. People are still here. We must conduct another search," the man shouted. From under the bed, Reuben could see the cold muzzle of a gun shone near the doorway. He held his breath and didn't breathe. From under the bed, he watched as the assassin dragged his father out of the closet along with his mother. Chief Benjamin's voice rang out, broken and desperate. "You don't have to do this. Please spare us." Bang! Then his mother screamed, "Bang!" There was silence. The assassins stood over the bodies. "Go and bring the other bodies and count them," their leader ordered. "And also take the pictures of all the dead bodies for us to show Chief Wiggins. Make sure they're all dead." 3 assassins went and got the other dead bodies. "They are 5 in total," one said. "I believe we killed them all." "Very good," the leader muttered. "Chief will be pleased." And they left. Reuben remained under the bed for a while, sobbing silently until he was sure that the assassins had left. When he was sure, he crawled out from under the bed and wept aloud over his dead parents and siblings. He cried so hard that at one point when he tried to scream, his voice would no longer come out. His throat burned, but no sound followed. The trauma had robbed him of words. Finally, after a long silence of grief, he walked out of the house door, broken and dumb, and the house remained still, bloody and quiet. Alone, voiceless and terrified, Reuben vanished into the cold, unforgiving streets of the city. That night he found an old, abandoned, wrecked car that barely had windows and slept inside for the night. The night was heavy with silence when the assassins returned from the bloody mission. Inside a dimly lit room, hidden at the edge of town, Mr. Wiggins waited, pacing like a beast in a cage. The moment they entered, he turned sharply. "Is it done?" he asked. "Yes, sir," the lead assassin nodded. "We took care of it. 5 bodies. Clean job." 5. Wiggins froze, his face contorted. 5? His voice rose. "They're a family of 6. Who did you leave behind?" The assassins exchanged uneasy glances. One stepped forward and pulled out his phone, swiping to a folder of grainy images. Photos of the lifeless bodies sprawled across the blood-stained house. As Mr. Wiggins scrolled, his fingers trembled. This is Benjamin. That one is his wife. Those are the 3 kids. Where is the youngest one?" he demanded. The room fell silent. No one had an answer. "Where is Reuben?" Wiggins shouted, eyes wild with fury. "You let that boy escape." "He was there. He saw everything. He'll go to the police. He'll expose us all. You idiots! Stupid and senseless fools!" He smashed the phone against the wall. "You won't get a penny until I see that boy's corpse. Find him. Bring me his head if you have to. I don't care how. Just wipe him out. Do you understand me?" The assassins, now fully aware of the gravity of their failure, nodded grimly. The manhunt for Reuben began that night, but Reuben was already gone. Morning crept in slowly. By noon, the neighbours noticed the silence and called the police. When the authorities arrived, they saw dead bodies soaked in their own blood. Days passed, and the police searched. The nation mourned, and Mr. Wiggins played the grieving friend on TV. Out in the dangerous street, Reuben had to learn to fend for himself. He still couldn't talk, and he was very scared. Hunger gnawed at his belly, he drank dirty water and ate spilt food in the garbage. He was often drenched in the rain and sometimes beaten by older street kids who stole the scraps he managed to beg. His clothes hung in rags, and his eyes were hollow. For 2 weeks he wandered the streets until one day when he tried to steal a sandwich from a quiet, thoughtful-looking man eating alone outside a small newspaper shop. The man turned just as Reuben's hand slipped toward his plate. "Hey, what are you doing here, boy?" Reuben froze. The man saw the bruises, the thin arms, and the pain in the eyes. Reuben wasn't like the street kids he'd interviewed before. There was a different kind of fear in him. "What's your name?" he asked softly. Reuben didn't answer. He couldn't. "Answer me. What is your name?" But Reuben stared blankly. "Can't you speak?" he yelled, and Reuben shook his head. He was so scared. The man, an investigative journalist named Bayo, had been following the Benjamin murder story closely. He had seen the pictures and read the police reports. He knew that one of the Benjamins, a boy, was missing. And this boy, there was something about him, something that didn't fit the street. Moreover, he had a striking resemblance with the deceased Benjamin family. "I think I know who you are," Bayo said quietly, his eyes softening. But he didn't press further. He took Reuben to his house and gave him food, a shower, and a bed to sleep. He vowed to find out who the boy is and solve the murder mystery. Over the next few weeks, he was very nice to Reuben and tried desperately to earn his trust. During that time, he took Reuben to a therapist who worked patiently with him. Then slowly, Reuben began to heal bit by bit. He still didn't speak, but he started to draw and to write brief words. Then came the day of the burial. The world watched as 5 coffins were lowered into the earth. Mr. Wiggins was there, putting on a perfect performance. He was dressed in black and dabbed fake tears. He mourned along with the extended family members and consoled them. Then, finally, before he left, he gave them money and promised to be there for them. He was disappointed that Reuben wasn't there. He asked the family members about him, but no one had seen him or knew where he was. They were also looking for him. "Well, if you find him," he whispered to Mr. Benjamin's elder brother, "bring him to me. I promise to take care of him as my own. He is an intelligent young boy, and he deserves a bright future." "Thank you very much, sir," Mr. Benjamin's elder brother replied. He thought he meant good, and didn't know that he meant to kill Reuben. Weeks passed. Then one quiet night, Bayo and Reuben sat at the dinner table. As they ate the warm food, Bayo said gently, "I know you miss them, and I know it hurts." There was silence. Reuben didn't reply. Then Bayo continued, "But I want you to know something, Reuben. You're not alone. You're like a little brother to me now. You're safe here. I promise to protect you." All of a sudden, Reuben looked up and said, "Thank you." His voice was hoarse and dry, but it was back. Bayo dropped his spoon and stared. "Reuben, you spoke—" "Yes!" he exclaimed with joy. Tears streamed down Bayo's face. He rushed over and hugged Reuben tight. For the first time in weeks, Reuben wept freely, not in fear but in relief. And then he told Bayo everything. "Mr. Bayo," he said, "it's Chief Wiggins. He came, just like in my dream, with dogs. But in reality, the dogs had guns." He also remembered a strange tattoo on one of the assassin's neck, 3 black stars. Bayo's eyes lit up. "That's it! That's the break!" Immediately he contacted the trusted police officer working on the case, and a quiet operation, the hunt for Mr. Wiggins, began. The police acted fast. The assassins were soon tracked, caught and interrogated. And under intense pressure and severe punishment, they finally confessed. "Mr. Wiggins hired us. He planned it all." That very day, the police raided Chief Wiggins' home and office, and what they discovered horrified them. They obtained text messages, emails, and details of secret meetings from his phones. They also found a contract document with the names of the hired men and their locations, with the target being the Benjamin family. Immediately, Mr. Wiggins, the respected politician, was arrested. His face twisted in horror as the handcuffs clicked shut. The story soon exploded in the media, and the nation was stunned at the level of Mr. Wiggins's betrayal. Many of Mr. Wiggins' political allies scrambled to distance themselves, and Mr. Wiggins, once a rising star in politics, was stripped of his position. His wealth was frozen, and his name blackened forever. After his trial and conviction, he was sentenced to life imprisonment, along with the assassins. "I miss them every day. Reuben told Bayo in the courtroom after the trial. He was now more confident and stronger. I know, Bayo replied. But they'd be proud of you, Reuben. You didn't just survive. You brought justice and saved more lives. Afterwards, Reuben reconnected with his blood relatives. He was the real hero, the last witness, the silent survivor, and the brave soul who endured unspeakable pain and still stood up for justice. Occasionally, he visited the graves of his family, with his relatives. He also had a framed picture from a family Christmas dinner permanently sitting beside his bed. To him, his family was not dead, but still alive.